Hello there, everybody, and welcome to your new moon partial solar eclipse video for the new moon partial solar eclipse taking place in Revati Nakshatra on the 29th of March. Now, a lot of you might say, well, wait a second, I thought that this eclipse was going to take place in Uttara Bhadrapada, which comes right before Revati. I use different calculations. If you want to know a little bit more on this, you can watch the video that you'll see linked above. But let's get down to an understanding about what this eclipse energy is really all about. Let's say you're somehow starting off in Berlin and you're wanting to take a trip to Rome. And let's say, for the sake of imagination, you're wanting to do all of your traveling on the ground and maybe, other forms of transportation along the way. If you decide that you're going to set off and go west, it's going to take you a lot longer to get to Rome. You'll have to circumnavigate the entire, globe to get back to the destination that would have been so much closer. And you'll likely get distracted by the sights and the scenes that happen along the way. Oh, look, there's New York. Oh, wow, here's San Francisco. Ooh, I've always wanted to visit the Grand Canyon. And before you know it, you're going, why is it taking me such a long time to get to Rome? Now, think for a moment about why your progress seems to be stalled. And if you're wanting something, or maybe even someone in your life, and you're feeling like, well, my desires are going unfulfilled, are you perhaps behaving in a way that's not taking you closer to your desires? Is there maybe something else that you want a little bit more than the initial desire that you were seeking? And if you'd like to know a little bit more about what all this energy relates to for you in relation to your own personal horoscope, please schedule in one of my astrological services. You'll find the link to do so just above. So the fact of the matter is, if you're feeling stuck right now, it might be because you're not clear on what your priorities are. And, instead you're kind of going, well, I want to have my cake and eat it too. And, well, you can have your cake and eat it too, but sometimes you have to have the cake there in front of you first and you have to eat it later. Or if you're wanting to eat the cake now, maybe you get a smaller slice of it. And the thing is we get in our own way so much more than we really need to. And quite often, it's unfulfilled, unconscious, I should say, desires that get in the way of this happening. Now, whilst this particular solar eclipse is taking place in Revati, we have a lot of activity going on in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra with Neptune, Rahu, a retrograde Venus, and yes, Saturn, all transiting through that section of the sky. And Uttara Bhadrapada is symbolized by two people meeting. And what that relates to is the two different sides of our consciousness. You can call it the conscious mind and the subconscious, or you can call it the shadow side. One of the things it relates to is how we have these unconscious desires that quite often get in the way. And we're having a Mercury retrograde period that's coinciding with this particular solar eclipse. And it's allowing you, then I should mention Mercury retrogrades in Uttara Bhadrapada too. It's allowing you an opportunity to review just how you might be getting in your own way, and equally to prioritize the things that are most important to you. You're not stuck, you're just needing to gain some clarity. And that clarity is really hard to find because, to be quite honest, Rahu conjuncting Neptune is about as confusing as energy can be. And some other hallmarks that you're likely going to find in in alignment with these particular energies are perhaps unrealistic expectations that somebody else has of you, or unrealistic expectations that you might have of somebody else. Equally, you might find yourself in a position where you're going, well, I want to commit in this direction, but this person might leave my life, or I want to commit in this direction, but I might lose my job, or I want to commit in this direction, but it may not be financially secure. That's the interaction between Rahu and Saturn. And so all these things are at play in the background, and it's got you in a position where you're going, I'm not really sure which way is forward. Why? Because you're not really clear on what you want fully. One part of you knows that you really want something, but the other part of you is going, how much do I really want it? Do I want to have this type of cake, or do I want to have that type of cake? Do I want chocolate cake, or would I really rather have a Victoria sponge? Or maybe instead I want pie. And I don't mean like, the 3.14 type pie. I mean the really good pie, like, like nice, chocolate meringue pie or something like that. It's getting clear on which of those things you really want. And if you're wanting, like, let's say chocolate cake, well, then you're not going to have lemon meringue pie, right? So you got to get clear on what it is that you really want. And once you get clear on what it is that you really want, aside from pie and aside from cake, maybe it relates to a relationship for you, maybe it relates to your career. Again, all of those things would be determined by what this eclipse is triggering in your chart. This is a period for you to get clear on that. So if you feel like things are in a state of limbo, or as if the universe has just kind of randomly hit the pause button on your life, don't look at it as a curse. Instead, understand it as a blessing in disguise. Eclipse periods are really powerful. They're like a cosmic reset point on the astrological year. What's really happening at that point is the path of the moon is crossing the path of the sun. And we can understand the sun to be related to our soul and the moon to be related to our consciousness. So when those two paths cross each other, the path of your consciousness, which is, your sensory awareness, your subjective understanding of things, and the more clear, lucid understanding of the soul, when those two paths cross each other, that's where incredibly karmic events tend to take place. So when you have a new moon or a full moon in close proximity to one of the nodes, that's what creates an eclipse. So you're getting a bit of a cosmic reset point that's kind of asking you, which way do you want to proceed? Once you get clear on direction, be willing to make the necessary sacrifices that take you in the direction that you want to go. Don't set off west to eventually end up going east. Make it easier on yourself and get clear now. And again, if you could use a little bit of help doing that, I do offer astrological services. You can schedule one of those through my services page, which you will find linked above. That's going to do it for this look at the new moon partial solar eclipse taking place in Revati Nakshatra on the 29th of March, 2025. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.